Hello peoples! Welcome to the video. On my post I said I had OCs and I kind of want to draw one right now. And I want to talk to you about her backstory. Her name is Suzie Evans to be specific. I decided they were just good names. Fun little fact before we start about her. I was trying to draw Suzie, the 5 missing children incident from FNAF Suzie, when I originally drew Suzie, but then I made the hair too long, and then I was like, who was I drawing again? And my mind was like, oh wait, I kind of want to make an OC, so I'm just going to make an OC. So I colored her eyes green, I made the hair black, I made her dress orange, and bam, Suzie. You know how Suzie from 5 Missing Children is spelled Suzie? Yeah, just kinda get rid of that. Her name's Suzie. This is Suzie, you see. Very, very creative. I'm so creative. She was originally made because I wanted to have Lunar from the Sun and Moon show on YouTube to have a friend. And also a possible love interest because I was silly back then. I was like, that was when I was like I was new to, like, teenaging, preteen, or teen, and I did not think twice about a human being with a robot. I did not think twice. Of course I didn't. Now they are just friends, and also she doesn't really stay friends with Lunar either. I'll explain that later. What you need to know right now is technically her life before meeting Lunar. Before meeting Lunar, she was kind of just in the darkest time of her life. You might be saying the darkest time of her life as a kid? Yeah. She has a very interesting life that kind of led up to that. She has rich parents that are actors, and they are world famous. Literally everybody knows her parents at this point. If you don't know her parents in that world, it's like, have you even seen a movie before? She also, for her parents' career, moves every year. At the beginning of every year, she moves to another place in the world. So she's been to many different places. The place she was at before meeting Lunar in Hurricane, Utah, because Hurricane, Utah is where the Mega Pizzaplex is. She was in Africa because her parents had a movie they had to shoot there because, you know, they needed the backdrop to be desert. And so she lived in Africa for a year before. So when she was 9 years old, she was living in Africa. The next year is the year she goes to Hurricane, Utah, because it's canon. I've made it canon that her parents are starring in the FNAF movie. The in-universe FNAF movie that's supposed to be like a horror movie, you know? So they are canonically in this movie, and she isn't, because she's still like 10 or whatever. They're saying, we're gonna wait till you're 12, sweetie, till you do acting and take up modeling and things. We're gonna wait till you're 12, so you can see what the whole entire thing is about. And she doesn't really want to, but she's just gonna have to, because money. Her parents want money. And at first, they wanted money because they wanted to have Suzie have a good life. And they moved every year because they wanted Suzie to be able to see all of the world. But now it's more just about the money. Which, you know, it's very easy to lose track or lose sight of what you are originally doing something for when it's something like this. You know? Suzie was especially heartbroken to leave Africa because she had a friend in Africa. And she really liked that friend. She got along so well with her. But she had to leave, and she just... Let's just say she begged her parents constantly, every single day, to stay before they left. But they were like, honey, we need you. We need you to come with us, okay, sweetie? And it's just like... I'm getting angry at my own characters. I'm getting angry at my own characters. I've done this to myself. But it's the only way. It's the only way for her to meet Lunar and kind of gain a little bit of hope in her life. And you might be saying, oh no, come on. You're telling me a man came and saved her? No, it was because Lunar had the right... He had the right outlook on life. Outlook? He had the right view of life and the right personality traits to kind of get her grounded again. So, no, it's not because Lunar is a guy! At first, Suzie is not so kind to really anyone in the daycare. She doesn't talk to Sun, she doesn't talk to Lunar, she doesn't talk to other kids, because she sees it as technically a waste of time, because she thinks nobody will be better than Ebony, her friend in Africa, and nobody is going to stay, because she's going to have to leave eventually. So really, she feels like if I make friends, I'm just going to have to leave them, and that's not nice. And I don't want to have to leave someone and feel heartbroken again. So might as well just not allow myself to even get friends to be heartbroken over. It's very sad, but it's kind of just how it is for her. Her schedule is also way too packed for her to call her friend Ebony, which is very sad, but also very true. Because she's rich, famous actor's child. Obviously, she's going to have a very packed schedule of constant doing things. And really the only way they made time for Suzie to go to the daycare was because on weekends her nannies are off and they need someone to watch her. So they think this will be good for socializing her, because they kind of realized, oh wait, she wants friends. But they just kind of did the exact wrong thing. They chose the They didn't choose to let her stay in Africa. Instead, they just decided to just bring her to a daycare and hope for the best. Which it didn't work at first. And it wouldn't have worked if Lunar, or someone like Lunar, wasn't there. But, thankfully, Lunar was there. You know? And of course, he kind of had to stick with Suzie for long enough for her to warm up to him. Because, you know, he's supposed to be helping the kids be comfortable and stuff. So at least he's gonna have to talk to her every now and then, just a little. But Sun was very adamant on Lunar trying at least to be friends with her himself, or just sit next to her, socialize her in some way, because, you know, a kid being alone isn't good, and shows signs of a kid just being sad, which Lunar and Sun are supposed to not allow, because in the daycare everyone is happy. Yay. So technically, what's happening is Suzie gets sent to the daycare every weekend days. Lunar sees her in the weekend days. Lunar at first is just annoyed by having to always talk to her, blah. Even though Lunar keeps on telling Sun she is not doing anything, he's just like, come on, please, Lunar, please. Just try something else. Maybe even just stay with her for a little bit. You don't need to stay with her all day. Just stay a little bit. Say hi at least. Please, we need to do something for this girl. She's not okay. Lunar just decides to do it, even though he'd rather be with kids that actually want to do things and actually play. But, of course, slight plot convenience, I suppose. Are Susie's parents there? Like, are they there a lot? No, not really, no. That's why she has nannies and stuff. They're never there. Really, they're never there. She never sees them unless they come for dinner, like, once every month, 2 months, 3 months. Their schedule's really packed. So they never have time to just bond with Suzie. A good example of this is the last time they went to one of her birthday parties. Okay, one of her birthday parties was when she was 5 years old. Let that sink in. But something that kept Suzie hopeful throughout this whole entire time was one of her dearest toys, Mr. Monty. Which you might be saying, Mr. Monty, like as in Monty Gator Golf? Yep. It used to be a Monty plushie, but now it's just a teddy bear that her father owned. He called him Mr. Monty, and it's just a hand-me-down teddy bear. It's a small little... I can't draw arms. Sorry. But it's just a cute little bear, like a tan cream color. And her dad gave her it, and it's supposed to be, for her at least, it's a constant reminder that even though her parents aren't there, they still care, and they're still trying. Even though that's kind of not exactly true anymore. But she doesn't know that. She's still holding on to hope that her parents want to be around her and don't constantly forget her name in interviews, because they actually do that. I literally one time made a recording because I had the idea while I was playing Webkins. I made a little recording of Susie's mom being like, "Oh yes, I love our dear little Susan? Celine?" And then one of the people said Susie, like one of the interviewers said, "Your daughter Susie?" And then she's like, "Yes, I love our Susie. She's so adorable. We love spending time with her. She says, well, she spends no time with her child." And, Mr. Monty is supposed to be like this really wise character that, you know, he kind of has his voice is kind of like, "I am very sophisticated," in her mind, but she can't really do it that well because, you know, she's a kid. She's a little girl. How do you expect her to do a sophisticated man voice? She sees Mr. Monty as the only friend that will stay with her forever. You know? So she carries him everywhere. Everywhere, I'm telling you. And she draws him constantly. She's a little artist. And nannies have tried to take away Mr. Monty before. It did not work, because what she'd do is either annoy them or stop being on her diet so that she would be thin enough in Hollywood standards, you know? Because... So now she just made a reputation with her nannies of, yeah, you just cannot take away Mr. Monty from her. It will never happen. It will never work. And you just have to accept that she has an imaginary friend by now. You just have to accept it. There is no other solution. Even, like, the most headstrong of nannies were just, like... They only had a year to really do what they needed to do to try and get Monty away from her, and it just never worked. It's never worked, because Suzie is just way too headstrong, though you'd think she wouldn't be. When it comes to Mr. Monty, her only friend in her eyes, no way anybody's taken away Mr. Monty. Okay? Mr. Monty is her support system, really. What keeps her feeling happy throughout the day and assured that even if everything that's happening doesn't feel right and she doesn't want to do all this, at least her parents still care about her. That was a sharp inhale of regret, because how do I end up making stories that just make me so sad? I feel like I took all the angst I could have put in every other OC story I have and then just shoved it into her. The poor girl's only 10. I have 2 adult characters. I could shove this all on, but instead I gave it to this poor little girl. I'm so sorry, Suzie. Suzie does slowly open up to Lunar a bit more. And Lunar kind of realizes, wait, Sun was right. She just kind of needed someone who would want to try, at least, to talk to her. And the way this started, specifically, was her drawing him, which he was shocked by, because usually she only drew her parents, herself, but mostly Mr. Monty! Mr. Monty! Literally, he's seen her draw throughout the time she was still giving him the cold shoulder. He'd seen her draw Mr. Monty like at least 3 times a day at the daycare, which would be for 2 weeks. So 4 times 3, 12 pictures of Mr. Monty already, and all of them were pretty decent for a little girl, you know? So the fact she drew him just shocked him a little, and was like, she started talking to him more, which also was shocking, which kind of meant she was opening up to him a little, but only a little, of course. He didn't really try anything until he knew for sure she was very comfortable around him. You know, trying to talk to her too much, trying to push her to do anything more than really just draw or do arts and crafts, because that's where she'd usually camp out in the daycare. I also want to just add this before I end this, because I do gotta go now. Suzie actually likes singing, but she doesn't want to make a career out of it, because she's actually just thinking, no, I don't, if I can help it, I don't think I even want to have fame. I just want to sing because I like it, you know? She's already planning to just run away from the fame. Thank you for listening. I'm so glad you actually cared about clicking on this, and just, yeah, thank you. If you haven't seen my channel intro, you can go to my channel and see that. So, you know, if you want to subscribe, you can make sure you're signing up for something you want to subscribe to. Like if you really liked the video, and share if you think someone else will want to watch this video. And if you have any comments about this, I would love to just have a conversation. Bye. God bless you.